Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the Small Brain Podcast. Today, we're going to be answering all your questions from Patreon. So if you want to be part of the next Ask Me Anything, go join the Patreon right now. We got a bunch of questions. Enough bullshit. Let's get right into it. First question. Any tips for someone going to Japan for their first time? Honestly, I would say just talk to people. Just talk to as many people as you can, because Japanese people are incredibly friendly, incredibly nice. And they're really generous and really sweet, and you never know what kind of adventures you're going to end up in if you don't take the first step, because Japanese people won't really take the first step with you. They're going to wait for you to kind of come to them type thing. So yeah, just be a little more outgoing than you normally would, and you're going to have an A-okay time in Japan. Also, here's a hot take. I would skip Kyoto. I would just completely skip Kyoto, because if you're anything like me and you don't enjoy crowds, you're going to hate Kyoto unless you do everything at like 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, before all the Chinese tourists show up, before all the brain dead Americans show up. Just skip it all together, man. There's so many like atmospheric places you can get in Japan without doing the bullshit of waiting in lines in Kyoto. Everything's more expensive. People aren't as friendly because they're just jaded from seeing tourists. You can go to amazing places like Miyajima in Hiroshima. It's a little island off the coast of Hiroshima. You take like a 10-minute ferry across the bay or whatever it is there. And there's like deer that roam free. There's a Shinto shrine in the water. You've definitely seen pictures of it. It's really famous and also very touristy, but just not on the level of Kyoto. There's just plenty of other places you can go and get that same kind of experience without going to Kyoto. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I would just do some Googling. But Kyoto, especially like in the spring and summer, is just hell on earth, man. Even the autumn too. I mean, it's beautiful in the autumn, but just to me, it's not really worth it. Or if you do go to Kyoto, just go somewhere that like not everyone's going to go. Don't go to the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Skip the Golden Temple. You know what I'm saying? That's just my advice. So Dan Anderson said, you have such a great rapport with strangers. Can you share some tips for starting conversations with people you meet while traveling? I wouldn't say they're necessarily tips. I would just say, I don't know if you would actually believe this, but I do have social anxiety with people. Like, I'm worried about being judged. I can get really in my head on certain things. But something about traveling, I think, forces me out of that shell where I'm never going to see these fucking people again. I will never see them again. I don't care what they think about me. I'm going to get on a plane in 3 weeks, and then I'll be dead to them, and they'll be dead to me, and I'll never, ever see them again. So it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? And some places like Japan, you might get those like one-off stares where people are staring at you because you're fucking something up. But fuck them, dude. Just fuck them. Just talk to them and see if you can extract some value out of your time there. You know what I mean? Because everyone has a story to tell. It's really just about being curious about your surroundings, being curious about the people. What do they have to offer? How is their perspective unique? You know what I mean? I think it's just being curious and then just not giving a fuck, because you'll never see them again. Sloppy Doc says, you used to live in Atlanta. Do you like DC better overall? Absolutely not. I did not enjoy my time in DC very much. I think the people are stuck up. It's really expensive for what you're getting. The cultural aspect of it's really nice though, like the museums, all the history there, incredible history, obviously in DC. You know, Martin Luther King gave his speech not far from my house, and Lincoln Memorial, and like the reflecting pool, the Washington Monument. It's all great. It's especially for like a history nerd or like a political buff. It's really amazing place to go and visit. I think it was where I was working. I was just involved with a lot of stuck-up people, a lot of people that thought they were the fucking center of the universe. They were changing the world when in fact they're actually making the world a worse place because they live in Washington and they're fucking destroying the earth. But yeah, that's kind of my take. Atlanta just to me feels more like home. My family's there. Like, I'm more familiar with the place. DC was cool. Really fun, like, experience with Sarah to kind of live in a fun new place. It's kind of hip, and there's cool bars and nice cocktail bars and restaurants and stuff like that. But in general, I feel like Atlanta for me is a little more livable besides the traffic. All right, Sloppy Dog also said, I plan on, also, what kind of name is Sloppy Dog? Are you giving Sloppy Toppy as a doctor? Anyways, I plan on booking a trip to Japan in the next year and wondering how much time should I spend learning Japanese? Well, Sloppy Dog, let's see. It depends on how long you're planning on being in Japan. Like, honestly, if you're there for 2 weeks, fuck it, dude. Don't learn a fucking word, honestly. Like, you'll have a better time the more you learn, but at the same time, like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth all that extra effort and studying and stuff like that just to improve a few days of your life. I don't know. As I'm saying it out loud, I do think that's a bad idea. You should not learn nothing. Just learn like 5 things. Konnichiwa, fucking hello, ohayo gozaimasu, morning, konbanwa, good evening, arigatou gozaimasu, like thank you very much, sumimasen. Boom, 5 things. You'll fucking blow their minds with that. If you really want to be Jozu at Japanese, there's actually a really good book. It's called Lonely Planet, like Phrasebook and dictionary for Japanese. I just pull that out on the plane and just kind of like write things that I need to study. Like right now I'm working on numbers. I think ordering beers would be good, like ordering food for people, left, right, you know what I'm saying? Like first floor, second floor, like basic navigation stuff, I think would make your trip a lot more smooth. But at the same time, like don't feel too much pressure, because if you're like most people, you'll just be there for a few weeks. So it's not really a big deal if you don't know that much. So anyways, Sloppy Dog has lots of questions. Last one. Based on stuff you do, friendliness of people, overall enjoyment, where would your top 3 destinations be, and what would be your least favorite? I would say top 3 destinations for me, Japan, Pakistan, Iraq. Honestly, like that's kind of a mixed bag. And I would probably throw the UK in there somewhere. Not necessarily for filming videos, just for like overall comfort. I just feel really at home in the UK. My ancestors came from there and stuff like that. So maybe it's just something in my bones. I'm not really sure. But really, I just always love going to the UK. Like the food's kind of shitty and greasy. Like people just drink and they're miserable and they complain. It's just something charming about it that I really enjoy. Also, I just had some amazing times in the UK. Like I snuck into Glastonbury Music Festival, spent my summer riding my motorcycle across the country, started in Ireland, went like South England, and then went over to France and stuff like that. So it was kind of like the starting point of the journey for me on my big trip a couple years ago. But yeah, so I really enjoy the UK. I mean, people aren't always super friendly, but it's just a charming place. So I just enjoy spending my time there. Obviously Japan is fucking fantastic for so many reasons. It's so comfortable, so advanced, so clean and safe, and like everything's on time, everything works. I've talked endlessly about Japan, how much I love it. But it also has its downsides, you know what I mean? Like people are kind of stiff and rigid and they don't try to think outside of the box. But as far as like filming videos and just overall enjoyment of life that I experienced in Japan, it's incredible. So it has all that, safety, and like it'd be a great place to raise a family, but it also has that incredible sense of adventure where some things can be so foreign to you. They're eating a fucking octopus tentacle and charging $100 for it. Like, why is that a thing? I have so many questions, And I think getting back to one of your questions before, like the more you're able to learn the language, like the more detailed questions you can ask, the more people are going to trust you and welcome you into their homes and stuff like that. So I think like making a little bit of an effort would go a long way. But I'm meandering now. And then also Iraq, dude. Iraq was just fucking based as fuck. It was so cool. People were so friendly there, like insanely friendly. Like they literally will take the shirt off their back and give it to you if you need it. Dude, I tried hitchhiking in Iraq. It took me 2 seconds to find a ride somewhere. It was so easy. Like it was almost a laughable video premise. Like, oh, let's see if we can hitchhike in Iraq. And the first guy we see is like, yeah, let's go. Like, insanely nice people. I mean, you may get used for some Iraqi propaganda, but that's neither here nor there, dear viewer. Don't judge the entire country based on one silly choice a stupid American made.
Nolan,
yes.
What do you think about Haji Hatem? He's good?
He's an amazing man.
What about his son?
Also, amazing sons.
No, Iraq was just absolutely fantastic. And we were only there like 5 days, 6 days, maybe a week. And I just feel like I got like a year's worth of life out of Iraq. It was just a fantastic experience. So good for the soul to see people that have been screwed over so endlessly by America. And I'm not trying to make a political statement. I'm just saying, like, we invaded them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you also have ISIS. You also have Al Qaeda running things over there. back in the day, maybe even still now. I don't know. I don't really keep up with shit, but like just absolutely heartwarming to see these people not care where you're from. They don't care what flag you fly. You're there, you're a visitor, they will take care of you, like no matter what. You know, they'll buy you some food, they'll do this, they'll do that. Like, man, I really want to go back to Iraq. I actually have a hankering now that I'm talking about it, but extremely, extremely special place. So that'd be my top 3: England, Japan, and Iraq. Odd little mixed bag there. I would also give honorable mention to Pakistan, although I can't name it as one of my top destinations so far. Well, actually, I really enjoyed Vietnam. I'll give Vietnam an honorable mention. Or no, you know what? In fact, for making videos, I would say it's Japan, Vietnam, Iraq. That's what I would say. But for like just what I enjoy doing, like me not on camera, stuff like that, honestly, fucking love the UK. Vietnam was just incredible to film in, and like obviously face some backlash, you know what I mean? But you know, win some, lose some. But just an incredibly adventurous country, very open people, absolutely no fucking English if you go outside of the tourist areas. Do not expect them to speak a word of English, not even like Coca-Cola. Like if you do this and say Coca-Cola in Vietnam, they won't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I think maybe I need to do like or something like that. Maybe I need to improve the quality of my charade game. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to admit that I have things to work on, okay, guys? This is a self-improvement channel, okay? But something, I don't know what it was about Vietnam. I think it's just a general lack of English speakers. It is just hard to communicate with people outside of the tourist areas. So maybe I should have learned at least a few words of Vietnamese. I don't know. I didn't learn jack shit. I do feel like learning like 2% of the language, like learn some basic sentences, it will take you so far. We just spent several weeks in Japan, and I can't tell you how much better my experience was because I speak some of the language. Like basic things are easy for me. And, you know, I can't launch into a debate about politics or anything like that, but I can get you around. I can get you fed. I can get us a place to stay. You know what I mean? Like those essential things I think make a huge difference. Yeah, and then as far as least favorite countries, it's hard for me to say, like, outside of India. And to be fair, I spent 8 weeks in India. Like, I was very sick of it by the end, and I had, like, very informed opinions. So I feel like, and just the hatred in me for India runs so deep. And I just feel like I don't have any other relationship with a country like that. I mean, all those European countries that were kind of boring, kind of mid, not a lot going on, just boring European history and culture, like stuff that I've learned about so long in school that I've just been desensitized to it. Like I just grew up learning so much about it that I have no curiosity for it anymore. So there's that kind of country that I'm not really interested in, that I guess you could say I don't like. But honestly, if I was there like on a family vacation with my girlfriend or whatever, like with my family, my niece and nephew, it'd be great. You know what I mean? So I think it just depends on like what you're trying to do. And for me, like being a YouTuber, trying to find interesting kind of lesser known things, I think Europe was just like a huge miss. Kind of a miscalculation on my part, but not really at the same time, because I knew I wanted to do a massive trip in Europe, which was just like something I had to get through. Turns out though, I couldn't make it through whatsoever. I had to sell the bike once I left the European Union. But I will say, yeah, I don't have anything like terrible to say about any of those European countries. Some of them were just kind of boring for what I was trying to do. Like Germany, notably, was pretty boring. It was actually like so similar to the US that I wasn't excited to film there. I wasn't excited to engage with locals and stuff like that. So, you know, I can't really say I dislike it. It's just like what I was trying to do. It just didn't suit my needs. Yeah, and then just obviously like one-off bad experiences with people all over the world, but that's going to happen pretty much anywhere. I will say I had like more unpleasant experiences with people in France, and also French tourists all over the world, in Dominica, you name it, Japan, anywhere. Like they're very entitled people. They expect the world to be handed to them. They're obnoxious. They don't want to change their customs. They don't want to speak your language. They just want to speak French. they have some weird hatred towards Americans, even though their country's very similar, and people are also entitled in my country. And but at least people are friendly in America. Like, people will put on a nice smile, and at least, especially people in the South where I'm from, people will smile and wave to you and act friendly, and then talk about you behind your back like a normal person. Whereas the French, they will kind of directly be combative. Like, we were in a restaurant in Dominica. They're demanding a wine menu at a fucking tropical little beach restaurant. Like, there's no wine menu, my guy. Like, there is no wine menu here. They're forcing him to like pull out the desserts out of the freezer so they can inspect them and see what they're gonna order. It's just like wild, the kind of French tourists I've seen around the world. And to be fair, maybe it's just French tourists. I was only in France for like 4 or 5 days, met some nice people. Although people are very direct and borderline rude. Like, I just gotta say it, you know what I mean? And I went to the D-Day Memorial in the north of France, and those motherfuckers were not bending the knee to my American ass. They should be sucking my cock for retribution. In retribution, okay? The French should be begging for they should be begging for the American tourists over there. They should be bending the fucking knee to America, because if it wasn't for us, they'd be speaking German. That's right, they'd be speaking German. You know it, I know it, we all know it. The French know it. They like to repress it, and that's why we're their number one enemy. And also, the French talk about America like, oh, slavery, oh, you hate the black people. Just Google French history in Africa right now. Go for it. Google it right now. French history in Africa. Horrific history of colonization. So the next time you want to come at my country for being racist, shut the fuck up. Okay? How about that? Belgian people are the same way, although not as bad. Belgian history, any Western European country has absolutely no right to call America racist. End of story. Okay? Just Google the history right now. So yeah, the French. I'd say India and France, least favorite countries on the planet. Mark McDowell said, hi, Connor, do you have a roadmap for this year's travel plans? Yes, I do. Do I want to tell you, though, Mark? Do I want to tell you? Basically, we're starting as far north in Japan as you can go, and then we're going all the way south through the country, and then we're just going to keep going south until they run out of land. That's all I'll say for now. Jose Rivera. Over the course of your last year-long travels, I noticed a change in you over the course of the videos. Do you believe that your journeys have changed you as a person? Has your approach on unfamiliar areas or situations changed? Damn. Jose hitting hard with the thoughtful questions. Wow. Well, I'd have to think about that. Yeah, honestly, I think my trip last year kind of showed me in a very direct way that I don't enjoy roughing it as much as I thought I did. Like, I think there's a time and a place for it, and I can do it for short amounts of time. I could do it for several weeks at a time. I could do it for a month at a time if I'm making great work, if I'm filming really interesting things and making great connections with people. I can make those sacrifices in order to make good work. But in general, I just don't think I'm cut out for like long-term, hardcore travel. And I think the nature of YouTube is like, you only turn on the camera when something interesting happens. You're not filming every single day of your life. And to be fair, my daily life the last week has been this fucking apartment. It's been just chilling and cooking meals and watching TV and like catching up on sleep, working out. But you're never going to see that because that's not fucking interesting. There's no story to tell. There's no challenge. There's no struggle. There's no story arc. There's no characters. It's not content. It's not for anyone but me. You know what I mean? So I think I got caught up in that way of thinking as a viewer at home, just sitting, during COVID. I was watching YouTubers go out and travel the world, go to Siberia, go to fucking India, stuff like that. Like these really adventurous places where I was just stuck on my ass at home and I was miserable and I was dreaming of a more adventurous life. And I watch these people and I'm like, oh man, they must be doing this all the time. They're not. They're not doing it all the time. They're turning on the camera, they're going on a specific mission to a place, and they're filming. And it might seem like they're there for a long time, but they're not. And so I think when I was planning, when I was lacking to plan last year on my big trip from Ireland to Japan, I kind of envisioned like that whole stint from like Iraq to Vietnam. Really, honestly, pretty much all of Asia was just poor fucking countries that I went to. I mean, dude, Asia's got to be one of the most poor continents. Well, no, probably Africa. Definitely Africa. Definitely. Who are we kidding? But there's a ton of really poor Asian nations, and I went through a lot of them. You know what I mean? Iraq, Pakistan, India, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. Poor as fuck. They're all poor as fuck, dude. And I know the Indians in my comments love to tell me, oh, India, number 3 economy in the world. Get fucked. The people there live in fucking squalor, in filth, dude. The day-to-day life of an average Indian fucking sucks, dude. All right? They're shitting. Dude, there was a day where I rode with my friend Cash from Calcutta to this like national park with like Bengali tigers and elephants, I think. And we were riding on the motorcycle for 4 hours. Okay, and we would eat some street food. Indians eat with their hands. You know, they're eating the mimosa or mimosas? I don't know. Shows what I know. They're eating some street food and, you know, dipping it in sauce and everything and shaking people's hands and smoking cigarettes. And there was no place to wash our hands all day for 4 hours one way. We got there, no bathroom with a sink, no soap. There was no place to wash our hands. And, you know, the Indians love to tell me, oh, well, you didn't go to the nice places. You didn't do. That's not what I do. You're missing the point. I'm trying to see how normal people live in your country. And fact of the matter is, they live like shit. It's dirty. It's dirty as fuck. You know? It's funny how this podcast will just evolve into me ranting about India. Wow. It's like I got scorned by an ex. You know, if countries are like lovers, you know, Japan would be my long lost lover that I've recently rekindled with. India would be that toxic ex. But you just can't get her out of your head. You know, you just keep talking about her to the boys. You know what I'm saying? A few drinks in, you're like, India. What a passionate place. It burned me so hard. I learned so much from it. Which is true. I learned a lot from India. Will I ever go back? I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, so back to Jose's question. I think, yeah, I value like comfort more, and I value like just a regular life more. I think everyone has those dreams of like this big long trip. They've kind of romanticized this idea, and so did I. And when I did it, I was like, you know what? 75% of this fucking blows. Like a vast majority of this trip, like all the sacrifices I've made financially, you know, I was lucky enough to get a girl that would stay with me when I was doing such a crazy trip. Lucky to have family that like stands by my side no matter what. But pretty much every other aspect of my life was in fucking shambles. Like I had no like career path. I had no plan. I had no money. Like I had no prospects. I mean, I was like, every day I was counting down the days like, fuck, I got to go home and like start working again and like try to figure this out and try to make the YouTube thing work without selling out and without making bullshit, fake fucking content like most, like 99% of people on YouTube do. So I was really trying to find a way to like make it work, try to fit a fucking square peg in a round hole. You know what I mean? And just going absolutely crazy. So I think this time around, I'm a little more mature. I've had that experience. I'm 30 now. I value comfort and security. And like, honestly, there's nothing wrong with staying in a nice B&B like we're in right now and then going out and doing my grimy adventures. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if that's able to let me recharge and like go out in the world and make better videos, I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And some videos will require me to like fucking do the sleeper train in India and fucking eat shit and like get food poisoning. And like, I understand that. But for now, like we're in East Asia, the standard of living's really high. I'm going to enjoy this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to feel bad about it. So there you go, Jose. Brian S. said, hey man, I really value and appreciate your videos. What do you think is next for you? Is there a final destination that will make you feel like you've made it and can finally settle afterwards? Or do you see yourself with a family traveling for as long as you can to new places? Wow, I really got to give it to you guys on this Ask Me Anything. You've really brought the heat as far as like personal questions. I feel like I'm in a therapy session right now. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Japan to me is like the shining city on a hilltop. Like, Japan is the best country on the planet, just objectively, but subjectively, like for me, I'm gonna settle down in the U.S. like no matter what. Like, that's definitely happening. I mean, all my family's there, all my friends are there, all my connections. Like, I think the idea of like jet setting and like living permanently abroad is a bit romanticized. And I feel like family, tradition, your roots, where you come from, I think that needs to have a higher value in our society. And I feel like, I don't know, it's hard in the backpacking community because everybody's so fucking obsessed with like travel and new experiences. And there is a time and a place for that. And I love that. And I've kind of built my life around that. But I think as I'm getting older and, Sarah and I are getting more serious, I think I just value home more in general. I value like coming home and being comfortable. You know what I mean? Comfort, kind of like what I was just talking about a second ago. And I just don't think you can ever achieve that as a foreigner in another place. I don't think you can ever do it. Even like you're well into your 30s and 40s, you've been in a country for 40 years. Like, you talk to Mexican immigrants in Georgia, they make a home for themselves, but I just don't think they're ever at home. Like, I don't think they're ever fully settled. I don't think that ever happens. And, at least it didn't for me. To be fair, I was only in Japan a year, but I just don't think I could ever feel truly at home anywhere. Maybe Japan if I gave it a few years, but honestly, man, like, I don't know. I had a bit of not an existential crisis when I turned 30, but like, I'm just getting more real about things, and I don't know how many more years I have left. I just want to be comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all down to have the adventure, but at the end of the day, like, it's all about balance, It's all about balance, and you just can't do too much of one thing. You can't be constantly traveling, like, or at least I can't. I need to have a baseline so that I can go out and have those amazing adventures, and it actually still means something instead of just like every single day you're fucking sending it, and it's every single day is a novel experience, especially as your parents get older, you just start to think like, I just don't know how much time they have left. And it was the same with my grandparents. I was traveling and they were in their 80s and 90s, and I'm still out traveling. I'm like, dude, any day now. You know what I mean? Any day now. And that's the sacrifice you make. So I never want you guys to think like this is some romanticized, like, I mean, obviously it's my dream. It's what I've chosen. I'll choose it 10 times out of 10, but there are costs to it. It's not just like a fucking fairyland. So anyways, yeah. Genie Pro said, would love to hear about your parents feel when you travel. As a mom with kids your age, I know I'd be trying to track and hear as much from you possible. Did you grow up doing a lot of travel as a family? No, just like basic standard, like, Panama City Beach, Destin, Florida, fucking St. Augustine, just like Florida trips, Myrtle Beach, just like cheesy white family trips where you go to the resort, or not the resort, but you go and get like a house, and you get steaks and shrimp, and you grill up at night and have a pool and have a little golf cart that you're driving around, and just had like a very nice, man, my heart is just so warm talking about this. Just had like a very kind of generic white suburban middle class family vacations that were just fucking fantastic, honestly. Just so incredible. And I think I'm finally like coming back around to that kind of travel. It's a little more comfortable. Like, there's that meme going around that has like the bell curve for IQ, and it has like the dumb guy on the left, the middle guy in the middle, and then the really smart guy on the right. So you have the guy on the left who's like, America's the best. And then you have the guy in the middle who's like, actually, America sucks. I studied abroad. And then you have the most intelligent guy saying, America's the best. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now, guys. Like, traveling's great and all, but at the end of the day, home is home. America's number one, the freest country on the fucking planet. Not for long. Let's be honest, not for long. It's not going to last long. But let's enjoy it while we can. Let's enjoy it while we can. Meanwhile, I'm out here fucking gallivanting around the seven seas. But here we are, guys. Here we are. Yeah, it seems I have a bit of cognitive dissonance about this. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. Like one day, if I'm at home for like months and months and months, I will die. I'll be dying to get out there. You know what I mean? Editing videos, like promoting stuff, like doing all the back end work. And then when I'm out there, it's fucking exhausting. And I'm out here for 3-4 months, 5-6 months, a year, whatever it is. And I'm just like fucking exhausted. I'm like, oh man, the grass is always greener is what I'm trying to say. So, you're working your corporate job, you have your stability, you have your family, you got your 401k and shit. Like, don't take that for granted, guys. Don't view me as some fucking, if that's what you want to do, if you want to have like a more unstable kind of rocky life and have more fun, fucking go for it. Don't let me stop you. But I'm just here to tell you, it's real life at the end of the day. Like there's pros and cons to everything. So just yeah, if that's what you want to do, fucking go for it. But just realize it's not always perfect. So, anyways, enough of me. Let's see. Oh, I didn't even answer a question. How do my parents feel about me traveling? They have heart attacks constantly. I went to Myanmar and, the State Department's not going to help you there, and tossed around the idea of going to other really dangerous countries. And, the best thing you can do for your parents in a situation like that is just don't tell them. Just don't tell them, because they're going to bring it up. You're going to have a little debate. You're going to blah, 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 blah. And grandparents are the worst. They'll just fucking, because they have nothing to do. They have no lives currently. They're just kind of sitting around watching Fox News. So they're going to tell you, oh, Iraq is this way and Afghanistan is this way. Oh, India is just like this. And you're like, really? Is that so? Is that so? Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to see for myself. Is that cool if I just investigate myself? Or should I just listen to the news? Or... No, I love my parents to death. They just want what's best for me. But they do worry. Definitely. Aydin Demir says, curious how you and Sarah met. How does it work when you solo travel without her? Well, I'll just go on little side quests. I'll rent a car. I'll go off for 4 or 5 days, something that she's not interested in doing, something that's a little more intrepid and kind of risky and just fucking stupid at the end of the day. So I'll go off and do that and film my little fun adventures, and then we'll just meet up and have our little fun adventure. We'll go on a little date. We'll do, go on a little Ferris wheel or some bullshit. Whatever she wants, It's just, just about making her happy at the end of the day. So we have that nice balance where I can go off and have my little adventure, and then we also have our nice little home life. So I'm solo traveling without my girlfriend because she's busy with university. Wondering if you have any tips on keeping it sustainable. I would say if you're solo traveling and you're going to be long distance, just call her a bunch. Like plan little calls, plan little dates where you can like watch your favorite YouTuber or whatever. Probably my channel. No, I'm just kidding. But me and Sarah will like watch The Office or watch some like Outdoor Boys, and we'll be on Zoom. And we'll have our nice little date every few days. So that's what I would say. Just like carve out some very intentional time to just be with her however you can. Yeah, Dan Sapio says, how has dating Sarah changed how you travel now? I would say it's just about finding the right balance, like stuff that she wants to do, stuff that I want to do. And at the end of the day, it's like a compromise that's worth it, because, I'm choosing to be with her. I'm choosing to like live this crazy life with her, and she is like one of the rare few that's like willing to go along with it and like super down. And so she's been really, really understanding with like me going off and filming my little stupid adventures, and she has like a little more comfort. We'll get her a nice B&B. I'll go off and live in a fucking shanty town, make a fun little video, and come back. So it's really just about like always communicating and like always finding kind of a middle ground. Even with countries, like, we'll go to like a more intrepid country, and then she'll do like more nature stuff or more like biodiversity type shit, scuba diving, and I'll go off and like hang out with locals and stuff like that. So it's really just about like finding that balance. And honestly, it's been a big upgrade as far as like the places we've stayed. I think I've kind of come more to terms with the fact that I like more comfort. I like to plan like 10% just to have a general idea instead of just floating randomly through the universe. It's nice to have like some kind of basic, very bare bones, like, all right, we're going to go here and then here and then here. And we're not going to book anything, but that's kind of our general trajectory. As opposed to like, I've done, month-long travel trips. I've driven my car across the U.S. Back in 2020 during the pandemic, before I was a YouTuber. And I would wake up each day like with no plan. And just, I was like kind of fucking miserable, actually. Like I had nothing to look forward to. Everything felt super last minute and super rushed and like really poorly constructed, and it just gave me a lot of anxiety actually at the end of the day. Like there's actually one way of thinking that's like, you need some kind of plan. You need something. Like you can't progress if you don't have any map forward. Like you need something to kind of ground yourself instead of just like every day is like la 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 la. What are we gonna do? You know, and I think if you're coming from that like highly structured corporate environment where your boss is breathing down your neck, you crave that. And I totally understand. I've worked corporate jobs that sucked my soul, that I absolutely hated. It made me resent the world. It made me drink too much. It made me smoke too much, do too much drugs. Like I totally get that. Like some people want that like freedom and they kind of idealize that. But also like if you're going to do it for months and months and months, like I've been doing, like you need a basic structure. And I think like traveling with Sarah has really like opened my eyes to like, this is just a reality. Like it's something that's been in front of me for years and years and years. And I think, you know, being with a girl that, I think just traveling with a woman in general, like they just have a higher standard than men do in like so many ways, but like for cleanliness and like safety and stuff like that. And it's kind of made me like look inward and be like, oh, actually I value these things too. So we can actually make all this work and live our dreams. So yeah, there you go, Dan. Okay, AJA, I'm not going to attempt your last name. How do you and Sarah pack for a long-term trip in various climates with no set return date? I feel like it's really just all about packing for like a season. So like right now, it's a big summer trip. I brought one pair of pants, the bare minimum number of boxers that I could legally bring without Sarah getting onto me. I brought two pairs. More than one, ladies. That's more than one. It's pretty good. For me, I just pack the bare minimum I possibly can because I know like if we're going to be moving around a lot, I want to be agile. I don't want to be constricted to like having a bunch of shit, especially with backpacks. God damn, they just hurt your back. They hurt your shoulders. It's just like, you gotta pack light. You have to pack light. Just do laundry a bunch, make sacrifices on that end instead of lugging all that shit around. It's just absolutely insane. I would say like bring a pair of like all-purpose tennis shoes or trainers, as the brain dead Brits would say. Yeah, just like a pair of lightweight tennis shoes. I used to have Allbirds, but the tread was kind of shit, so I just got some Adidas with like some better tread, a little lighter and more lightweight and stuff like that. And honestly, like spend the money on the shoes and spend the money on the right backpack, because those are like super essential items in your travel bag. Like I have one pair of shoes, one pair of slides that I wear on travel days and stuff like that. But you know, like my grandfather used to say, you spend most of your life in bed or on your feet. So you need to invest in a good bed and invest in good shoes. And that'll, you know, it's not going to be money like wasted. It's going to be money well spent. Yeah. Also packing cubes help a ton, like kind of organizing all your stuff and like little, you can cinch them down and get a little more compact, space in your bag. Like any way you can save space is great. I obviously have taken my work on the road. I have a massive laptop. I have mics. I have USB plugs. I have other mics. I have fucking external hard drives. I have chargers, cameras. I have a lot of stuff. And if you're just like a regular person just going on a long-term trip, I would not bring that stuff, honestly. I would just bring your iPhone. I mean, the iPhone has a fantastic camera. If you really want to go crazy, get the DJI. I've been filming that, DJI Action 4. I've been filming with this camera, and I think it beats the hell out of a GoPro. So I'll link it down in the description if you want like a travel camera. It goes underwater. It's better than a GoPro. It's like the upgrade. GoPro's kind of been lacking lately. So the DJI Action 4 is like better in low light, better stabilization. Like it's just a better overall camera. So if you want something like for those more adventurous days, if you're gonna go like skiing or like fucking jet skiing or some bullshit like that, like just bring that camera, a little mount, and there you go. Also, the Insta360, I don't mean to simp for corporations right now, but like the Insta360 X3 is an incredible camera. There's so many applications. It just films everything 360 and then you can edit it later. And it is so incredible what that camera can do. Like all the reframing and like artistic kind of ideas you can do with it is so amazing. And it just captures shots that are not possible. Like you would need like a drone to get shots that I get on the Insta360. Like, you know, you extend the selfie stick out and it's just like hanging above you and like filming everything. And then it's just incredible. And I used it the other day for like a little date me and Sarah went on, just as like a home video, and just the footage is amazing. So if you want to do that, and also you don't need any experience like filming, you just fucking turn it on and just let it sit there. Like you don't need to like aim the camera or anything like that. It's like so easy. So I'll also link that down in the description. Do you plan to purchase and or dispose of gear along the way? Yeah, honestly, I bought the DJI Action 4 in Japan because I was just in the store, this Yodobashi camera that I filmed. I literally bought the camera and then started filming a video because the store was so fucking crazy. So, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, if things come up, like if like a new camera comes out that I really need, right now I'm set on cameras though. I got the DJI Action 4, I got the Insta360 X3, my iPhone, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, and I don't really plan to buy things. I mean, I guess like shirts, like I left Dominica with like 2 shirts because I left some of them. I fucking lost them in Dominica. So I had 2 shirts. So that was like a nice little happy coincidence that I could go. It gave me a good excuse to go shopping in Japan and go thrifting and like have a nice little fun thrifting video. But I would say like pack less than you need. Like have like 20% of your bag be empty, so that when you find something amazing that you can't find anywhere else, like imagine being in Korea or in China and you see like a rip-off Apple Vision Pro or something. Like you're going to want to buy that. You know what I mean? You're going to want that amazing, incredible souvenir for $200, like a fake, you know what I'm saying? Like just something super unique to the region like that. You gifts for your family, like you're going to want to have a little bit of extra space in your bag. So I would say like just underpack, really underpack. Gabby S said book recommendations. Yeah, I mean, travel book recommendations, I would say Vagabonding is just like the most goated travel book I've ever read. It's just like a spiritual guide, how to get going, inspiration. You know, it starts off and the author, Rolf Potts, is saying like, you know, there's a movie with Charlie Sheen in it where it starts and he's like, man, if I had $1 million, you know, I would ride my motorcycle across China and just forget about the whole stock market thing that I'm doing now. Like it was about some day trader or some miserable Wall Street guy that envisioned somehow being able to afford a cross China motorcycle trip. But it's like, you don't need, dude, you need like $2,000, $3,000 to do that. Like it just will completely change your mind and shift your thinking on how to make this happen. You know what I mean? Just absolutely incredible book. Also, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss is an amazing book. I'll link any like product or book or anything. I'm just gonna link in the description so you guys can see that there. But the 4-Hour Workweek will revolutionize your idea on like how you're making money, because most people make their money like exchanging time for money, like a wage job. You know what I mean? I was working at a restaurant making like $8.25 an hour plus tips. So like I have to be there physically every day, showing up. I can't work remotely. I can't get off early. If I get off early, I get paid less. So it's kind of an idea. It's like a very like 1%er kind of book about like growing wealth out of value. Also Rich Dad Poor Dad, an incredible book. I read it back in the day, and it more of an entrepreneurial mindset going into life, going into like adulthood, for me was really important. So instead of focusing on like working at a company and grinding your way up and everything like that, I wanted to like make valuable things, make cool things, make shit that people like. And that's not to say, I'm not trying to say like YouTube was a business choice for me. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to get rich now. It was like very much a passion project. But when I found myself in those jobs like that were paying me by the hour, I just knew in the back of my head, I was like, this is a scam. Like this is like a lifelong scam. They just want you to be here in the flesh every day, showing up, working for someone else, getting someone else rich. Like I want to be the guy with the fucking lake house. You know what I mean? And I think all these books, even Vagabonding, like didn't instill like materialistic values in me. I don't think I'm very materialistic at all, but I like I said, I appreciate comfort, and you can't be comfortable if you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week for someone else. I'll gladly work 70 hours a week for myself. I'll do that any day of the week because I'm the boss. I believe in what I'm doing, and I see the vision, and I want it to work. And I don't have any employees. I have one guy who edits my shorts, but like I don't have like a fucking big business. It's a small business. I control everything. This is exactly what I want. So I think, Vagabonding, 4-hour work week, and Rich Dad Poor Dad, to me, really changed the way I look at things. And yeah. Number 2, Gabby asked the second question. If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? See, this is what I mean. Like, my patrons are very insightful, thoughtful people. This is really impressive. I just thought it'd be like top 10 fucking blah, 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 blah. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why I thought that of you guys. But no, it's been like incredibly insightful and very thought-provoking. So I really appreciate you guys. If you want to be part of the next Ask Me Anything, hit the link in the description. Join the Patreon right now. If I could tell my younger self one thing, what would it be? So, fuck. Shit. I would say, fuck what everyone else thinks. Fuck what anyone else thinks. Fuck them. They're not you. You have the vision. Like, trust yourself. Don't buy into anyone else's vision of what your life should be. You make your life. Your life should be a piece of art. You should look back when you're 90 years old and think, I crushed it. Like, this life I lived was so unique to me. I made all the right choices. I followed my guts. I fucking followed my passions. I made sacrifices when I was younger so I could be more comfortable when I was older. I looked out for the people I loved. I made interesting art. I expressed myself. Yeah, I don't think you should listen to anyone else's vision of what your life should be. I think that's bullshit. I think that's like very sheepish, fake crap, garbage, fucking bullshit mentality. Like, to buy into someone else's vision of what you should be. It's your life. It's yours. It's yours. It's nobody else's. So why am I listening to you? Why am I just following you blindly? Like, as a kid, yeah, like, from 0 to 18, I get you're kind of obeying orders. But, like, once you're 16, 17, 18, like, fucking get out there. Like, experience things for yourself. Don't take anyone else's word for it. Just because they say Iraq is dangerous, well, you're not going to go because they told you that? Obviously do a little bit of research. Or don't. I don't know. Whatever. But you're going to let them tell you how to think? Like, it's your mind. It's your life. It's your vision. It's your story. And you're going to fucking believe what they tell you to believe? That's crap. I just don't do that. Don't buy into that. Don't believe the hype. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, Gabby also said, what places would your dream road trip consist of? Well, I guess it depends on what the goal is. Like, am I trying to chill? Am I trying to do it for me and my family? Or am I trying to go out and have, like, crazy adventures? Because I think a really adventurous road trip I would like to do, honestly, man, like, the whole Ireland to Japan on a motorcycle it still has a lot of allure to me. Like, I really want to get on a bike and go from fucking Iraq to Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, China. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all big, big, big adventurous places, and that'd be an incredible trip. I think I need a little more money. I need a bit more maturity, I think, for that trip, a little more planning and foresight. But maybe one day. All right, Adrian says, what's the best country to solo travel to? For example, countries where it's easy to meet people with a spontaneous culture. I think Vietnam is really easy to meet people. I don't know. I've had some great times in Japan, but I know a little of the language and the culture. I don't know if it's for everybody. I think if you're a little bit more of an extroverted person that's willing to study a little bit of Japanese, Japan's a great place. Vietnam, Japan, Pakistan is super easy to meet people. Super easy. Like, they will come to you in swarms. I've also heard good things about Bangladesh. Like, people are really friendly there, such as Pakistan. Iraq, people are really friendly. Not many European countries, people will, like, spontaneously approach you. I've also noticed, like, most people are white in these countries, so you don't stand out already. So they're not going to know where you're from just by looking at you. Whereas I think in Pakistan, even in India, like, you stand out so much that people are willing to kind of talk to you and ask you where you're from, and you know what I mean? So yeah, I would say Japan, Vietnam, Iraq, Pakistan. Yeah. All right. Adrian also said, throughout your adventures, you've met a few other travelers like yourself, and I'm curious on how you met them. Ali. Oh, so we met Ali in Iraq. He was the guy who took us into his home. He fed us a meal. We sat on the floor. He was a really smart guy, really insightful, huge heart on Ali. We just met him in a market. We were filming a video. I think I had stopped filming that day, and we just spontaneously ran into him. Like, we were searching for phone cases or something, and he just started speaking English to us, and then we just hit it off from there. Benjamin. Who's Benjamin? Oh, Benjamin. Oh, Ben from Hong Kong. Yeah, Ben was one of my coworkers in Japan. We taught English together for a year. And now he's bumming it, climbing rocks in Hong Kong. Seal, we just met on Instagram. I just saw a bunch of his videos on my For You page, I think, on TikTok, and then I reached out to him on Instagram, and boom, made some videos in Iraq. Tony White said, how cumbersome is it to carry use all your film equipment? It's kind of a pain in the ass because I have my DJI Action 4, I have my DJI mics, I have, which this is what I'm using right now, DJI mic. So camera, mic, Insta360 X3 with a dive case, which is really big and hard to carry. Long ass selfie stick, tripod, the tripod the phone is on right now, MacBook. That's pretty much it. Oh, 2 hard drives, a power bank, a bunch of cords. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely adds up. It's heavy as hell, especially the MacBook. God damn, this thing is a beast. It's so heavy. Tips? Nah, I don't really have tips. I don't really do it the best. So I'm not really in a position to give tips. I heard the Peak bags are really nice, but they're like $300, $400. They're really expensive, but they have a bunch of different separate compartments where you can organize, stuff more easily, like SD cards and stuff like that. Like really the valuable stuff that you want to protect, I think is a little better in those Peak bags. I've never used them personally, but I've like kind of checked them out myself, and they look really nice. So I think it would probably make my life easier, maybe yours too, depending on what you got. Dr. Goosefee. Okay, we got several doctors in the Patreon. I see that you get shaved in many of your videos. Can you let us know where you get your nails done and in which countries you visited we can get the best nail work? I've never got my nails done besides a joke pedicure I got with my niece. I couldn't tell you, man. Probably Vietnam. It's where all the people in the nail salons in America come from. They probably got something going on in Vietnam. Probably Korea also. I don't know. Korea is like a big like skincare, plastic surgery destination for low self-esteem people across the world. So I feel like potentially you could get some nail work done. I don't know though. I have no idea, honestly. Sorush Ranjbar. Have you ever considered traveling to Iran? Yes, I have. I actually tried to go there on my big trip. I was in Turkey and I was investigating places. I actually remember vividly I just sold my motorbike in Bulgaria. I tried hitchhiking. I got the train into Istanbul. I stayed at like a shitty fucking hostel. Tons of Russians, which didn't make it shitty. I'm just saying those two things are not related. But the hostel was like, the floors were like wet and like humid in there and just crowded and just, it was during the fucking war in Ukraine, like right when it broke out. So there's all these Russian, I guess you could call them refugees, like people fleeing from Putin's mandate for more soldiers or whatever. So a bunch of like draft dodgers in Turkey, and just a crazy, crazy experience. I'll never forget it. But I remember like, it's like the best part of me and also the worst part of me is I don't plan. Like it makes for some incredibly fun, amazing adventures, but at the same time, just some very dark moments because I had this whole trip planned. I had come on the podcast. I had talked about it. I had said, I'm going to go from Ireland to Japan. And then as I'm in Turkey, I'm researching, I flat out cannot go to Iran. I cannot go, first of all, because I can't afford it. And second of all, I can't bring my bike in. I have to like get all this paperwork. So like even without the bike, I couldn't go. So that was just a dark time. And I was like, I just sold the bike. I have like $925 extra and I still can't afford to go to Iran. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford this trip. It's just seared in my fucking memory this moment in time where I just was not happy at all. So yeah, I was looking up how to travel to Iran. I was in the Facebook groups asking around, and it just wasn't feasible. It's so expensive as an American. Like the government plays games with you. They make you reserve like a official government tour guide, and then you have to rent a car and go all the way across the country. And I think it's an incredibly expensive endeavor. So maybe one day when I'm a little better off, I'll go to Iran. Yeah, I have heard really good things about Iran. I've heard that people are super friendly and nice. I've heard it's just like kind of like Iraq, like just that classic Middle Eastern mentality. So one day, inshallah. Patrick Duffy said, I'm just here to say somehow I know your channel got so big so fast. Feels like you only averaged like 1,000 views when I started watching. I didn't even know about the podcast channel, so binging all that shit now. Congrats, bro. Great stuff. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, I mean, it just happened overnight completely. I mean, now we're kind of at a sustainable level where I'm used to where I am. But at first it was just like every day, it was like the channel was growing by like 50% every day. It's just fucking so wild. So yeah, thanks for the love, Patrick. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Furker said, coming into Argentina. Okay. Jimmy said, I'm quite interested in traveling to Iraq. I love Middle Eastern countries, and Baghdad seemed really interesting from your videos. Would you recommend traveling there or advised against it? Definitely go to Iraq. Definitely. We had no problems with safety. I felt more safe in Iraq than I do in Atlanta, than I do in Los Angeles or New York or Chicago, anywhere in my own country. So don't believe the media. Don't believe the hype. Do your own research. Go check out these places by yourself and see for yourself. Except for, a few places. I feel like, North Korea, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on there. I've watched so many documentaries. Let's see, is that it? Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks very much for your questions. Thanks for giving me something to talk about in an Ask Me Anything episode. If you guys want to join the Patreon, get exclusive access, early access to every video that drops on YouTube, and then get extended cut videos, uncensored stuff I can never see on YouTube, join the Patreon. Links in the description. So see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye-bye.